Dude, I got everything done.
Sorry, it's
Yeah.
me this time.
Oh, yeah, of course. Right.
It's
Nothing can
me.
ever go right. We can never get everything done on
No,
time. Right.
I'm trying to get parents situated, dude. It's late and it is what it is.
Oh, I know. Hey, so welcome back, guys, to episode 4 of season 6.
Week
Right.
four,
We're
week
in
four,
week 4
dude. How
already.
crazy is that? If you think week four, I was thinking about that today. I was like, man, uh, it seems like every year just goes faster and faster, right?
Yes. Yes, definitely.
Week four.
Um, a lot of interesting stuff has happened since we were last here last Thursday, right? We did it Thursday morning daytime show, right?
Yeah, last week was the Thursday show.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys have been kind of keeping up with what goes on and things like that, but some of the interesting things that have popped up in the high school sporting world. Um, I'm going to give this piece of advice once,
Hmm.
and I really didn't think I'd have to give this piece of advice.
Dude, what goes through a
Uh,
person's mind? You know what I
but
mean?
but you're always shocked, right? So there was actually let me go back here. I don't want to misquote everything. Here we go. There was a coach that at coaching school this year out of Bridgeport, wasn't a football coach, was a soccer coach. Uh Resigned because the police are accusing him of charging 5 grand on his, I guess we call it a P card, right? Like on the company card. 5 grand at the men's club of Houston.
Dude, that's a for one. That's a good, healthy amount of money to spend.
That is a chunk of change, dude.
That's a chunk of change, dude, to just be at the men's club. Drinks don't cost that much, pal. And I'm giving him a little leeway here. It was probably 2 to 3 days worth, but still, you're talking 1,500 a pop.
Yeah, and I would think he wasn't alone,
He
right?
was he
I mean,
he's the one that's got the fall, and he's the idiot that used the card. There's some probably more guilty people around, and who knows? The thing is, there is like I just don't see. We always, man, you just think about it, you're like, most people you'd think pretty sharp, pretty intelligent people would walk around every day. You survive, you live, you don't get yourself killed, like you have a good head on your shoulders. And then you have people you're like, dude, you racked up 5,300 plus on a company card. How and what made you think you were going to get away with that? Really? I don't get it. We got basted for a $600 pizza charge.
$80 tip. $80 tip,
$80 tip.
$600 worth of pizza. But yeah, so actually, so it was like the statement goes, we as in the district were informed by the district in September that a large amount was charged to the Texas Richmond Corporation, which was the club's parent company. So that's kind of like the shady. Hey, we're going to cover this up, in case you don't use a district card. If your mama's out of town and you go out to the Houston Men's Club and you charge it, it's not going to show up as Sugars or whatever, right? Or
Sugars.
Cheetahs or the Palace, right? It's showing up as the Texas Richmond Corporation. The guy paid it back though. So
Whew.
you got to give him props on that. But yeah, he did resign amidst the investigation. So coaches, do not use your district credit card for any type of extracurricular activities of that nature. Of
Hmm.
that nature, right? So it's nothing's shocking nowadays, right? Nothing is shocking. So another thing that popped up over the weekend, this is kind of a local thing. Um the Kingsville game. So Kingsville's 2-1, right? So they've matched their highest winning total since 2018 when they were 5-6, and that was the last time they made the playoffs. 2018. So they're sitting at 2-1. 3 weeks into the season,
Solid.
and out of this game, we got this gem that popped out of here. I don't know if you saw this or not. Ruben shared it, and that was pretty neat. You've heard of the Bush push, right? But you got the Brahma Boost here going on now.
Oh wow. Dang. Wow.
Dude, he squeaked out of that. He just kind of got lost in that scrum and then just kind of
Yeah.
shot out of there.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, so that was I think it was the Jackson kid, the receiver that's over there. They thought it was Dylan Everett, who's the quarterback over there. Um,
You know, when we talked to Coach Ruben prior to the season kicking off, man, he was very confident with what he had over there, and he sold me, and I hadn't even seen the team. You know what I mean? And we're sitting
yeah,
here at 2-1. He's picked up a couple good wins. I think the hype is starting to become a little bit real over there in Kingsville.
dude, I think so. And this week, who do they have this week? Who do they have this week? It's potentially another win. Let me pull it up real quick. Oh, there it is. They've got actually that's 2018 schedule. Let me pull up this year's. They've got it's gonna be they've got London. They've got
Okay.
London this week.
So, well, hey, you know what though? That's a good matchup. That's a good measuring stick to see where you're at, right? We just had London over Orange Grove, or Orange Grove over London last week, and we watched that game. And OG gave them a good run, but ultimately London pulled it out. So, hey, if Kingsville comes in and beats London, that would be to me an early statement win for them.
Yeah,
Uh,
I
and
think
then,
so.
and if they don't, then you can kind of measure, okay, how they do against London. Now let's start comparing them and see where they're at, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's
Well,
a fair, fair assessment.
they beat Ray last week, 35-20.
Yes. Yeah.
So I mean,
Ray's a little
they're
down. But still,
yeah,
Kingsville came in and beat him, and Kingsville just came off of a no-win season, pretty much. So
yeah, a one win season. They had one win
one,
last year, so they've eclipsed their win total already, and they're on pace to well, maybe surpass their 2018. We'll see, right? So as their schedule goes on throughout the year, they've got they got a streak in Tolosa Midway next week, Cal
that's
Allen
tough.
the week after, Hidalgo's got this is a down year this year. Speaking of coach improprieties, allegedly, Hidalgo's got a down year. Then they got Zapata and La Feria. La Feria's kind of been down the last couple of years. Hasn't been the La Feria of old. So
Money.
yeah, it's a good shot, man. And then they finish out the season with Alice.
Alice can be tough. The last week, Alice can be tough, I think.
I think so, yeah, because at that point they'll be clicking. You
Yes.
know, yeah.
You'd think.
So speaking of last week and wins and losses and whatnot, let's go through what we saw last week. So Thursday night action, we had a couple games that night. We had Laredo Alexander visiting Miller 6A. Laredo Alexander, who's picked to finish fourth in that district, make the playoffs, a potential playoff team for the Bulldogs. 55-14. Actually, let me back up before we talk about this. Did you see who won the Ford Built Tough Player of the Week this week?
Did not.
Caden Solis from Three Rivers.
Really?
Yep, one of our Player of the Week nominees.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was named the Built Ford Tough 2A Player of the Week.
That's cool.
Congratulations, Caden. Congratulations, Three Rivers. He couldn't have done that by himself. And Three Rivers, man, they're streaking. Man, they put a they put a whooping on Taft last week.
Honestly, they had a pretty good year going last year. That's what drove us out there to go watch them and Refugio play
Yep.
that one week, and they were doing pretty good up to that point, and then Refugio just referred them. But
Hmm.
I look to see Three Rivers normally the last seems for a while they've had a good solid team. They haven't knocked down Refugio yet. That's a big step for them. But other than that, they've been playing a lot of solid football lately, and they've produced some really good athletes. Caden Solis being one of them.
Hmm. Hmm. So so congratulations, Caden. Congratulations, Bulldogs. Right, like he couldn't have done that by himself. So you guys are we're looking forward to see what you guys are doing. Maybe we'll make it out to or actually the game should be in Three Rivers this year.
In Three
So
Rivers.
yeah, maybe we'll make it out to Three Rivers, depending what it is, depending how the season shakes out at that point. Um, the other thing, we'll talk about that at the Asterisk game. So Laredo Alexander at Miller, it was 55-14 Miller. We both got the win on that one. I mean, there's not much to really talk about.
No.
Trevor Long had an outstanding game, threw for 400 yards and I think 7 touchdowns.
Starting to become
Um,
the norm over there, ain't it?
it is, man. It is. And so this week is the bye week for CCISD, so it's a rest week for those guys. Let me pull this up real quick. Let's see who they've got left on the docket. They've got they open up with Ray in the Hall of Fame game next Friday. Victoria East, King, Corpus Christi, Moody, and then Thursday the 19th, right? That's the
Mhm.
one that everybody has circled. That's Vets, and Miller will be the home team that game. Then they got Victoria West and finish out with Carroll. Um,
I always look forward to the Miller and Vets game, man. I love it.
well, it's become the marquee game of the area now, hasn't it?
Yes, for
Um,
sure.
yeah, I mean it's North versus South, right? And
There's just good battles in it.
newest high
Vets
school
got the
versus
upper
the
hand
oldest
right
high.
now,
Well,
dude.
what's that?
Vets is at the upper hand right now. The last couple of years.
I think it's like 6-1 or 7-1, isn't it? Something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, they Miller won
Mhm.
that one regular season meeting, and then Vets took it in the playoff at that huge game at Book Stadium that year.
Yeah, I thought they had it last year. I thought Miller had it last year, and they kind of did. It just kind of slipped right out from underneath them,
Yeah.
right there at the very end.
Yep. So I mean, not really a whole lot to say about that. Miller did their thing, and they kind of went on cruise control and finish out this bye week, and then start up the Hall of Fame game next week. And then we kind of mentioned this one already: Orange Grove versus London. You know, we both had London, and actually we both had Orange Grove in this one, and we kind of watched this game in and out because it was online. I think it was the KRI 6 Thursday night game of the week,
Yes, that's what it was.
right? And yeah, and our service kept freezing up, so we didn't get to watch a whole lot of it. But you know, it turned into a pretty interesting matchup. Came down to the last possession, and London squeaked out with 145-43. Orange Grove still needs to work on that defensive side with some of the issues they've got. Obviously, they've got no problem scoring points.
Yeah, I got to see a little bit of it, and like you said, it just seemed like Orange Grove would get there and then give a ride back up to London every time.
Yeah,
And it's really like the last like quarter and a half, it seemed like it was just playing catch up, and they just never could get ahead. They could never get that final score. London's offense did a really good job of keeping themselves on the scoreboard, and uh, it's just one of those things, man. That's how football is sometimes. And I think both those teams are actually really solid squads for this area, though.
yeah. London's outside chance of making the playoffs in that district. They are in that tough district with Goliad, Edna, Industrial. I mean, they've got a good chance of squeaking in.
Yeah, you.
Yep. And Orange Grove, I mean, they're in the Sitting district. I mean, that's going to be a competitive district, right?
That's a
Sitting,
wide
Orange
open
Grove,
district right now.
Ingleside,
I
Rockport.
think early on,
Actually, Rockport's left.
I'm pegging Ingleside right now to be the DC
Mm-hmm.
in that district. But I think that OG is gonna give some of these teams a run for their money in it for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
They're gonna give them a run for their money.
Yep.
You're gonna have to work to beat them.
Yeah. So then we jump into our Friday night games. Gregory Portland versus Victoria East, 49-27. Gregory Portland, we both got the win in that one. GP, another slow start, right? Kind of stumbled out of the blocks a little bit.
Dude, for the longest time there, I didn't think they were gonna. I thought they were gonna give it away. They were, they got down kind of early. They weren't really capitalizing on mistakes. They were making mistakes. But eventually, they ended up just going to Gabe Waters again, carried that offense to a good workload. It was like what 20 something carries, 200 yards, and like 4 touchdowns, or
244, 4 touchdowns. Yeah.
yeah,
And
he was.
he's doing double duty. He's starting at linebacker too.
He played had another solid week at linebacker. So he senior leadership, man, he stepped up and got that done for him. But yeah, it was the first half. I was watching, I was like, golly, man, we gotta get that first half under control, especially with some of the teams on the docket coming up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we both get the win in that one. Next game on the docket sitting at Port Lavaca Calhoun, 26-17 Port Lavaca. We both had the W in that one. The reports I'm getting from our guy, our sitting fan in Arlington, they just played ball control. You know, they hardly gave the ball to Sitton, and they were, man, every offensive play they were popping 3 to 4 yards on that triple option. You know, when you're doing that, I mean, it's going to be hard to stop it, man. I mean, you're seeing third and very short, you know, and you keep the chains moving, you keep that clock churning, keep playing, keep away, and that's essentially what they did. They said Hanson's starting to look a little more comfortable in the offense. He had a pretty good game. I think he threw for 162 yards. But it was close, man. The game was never really out of Sitton's grasp. They just didn't get the touches, man.
with that, it's kind of hard because uh, to me that kind of tells me I think Port Lavaca might be on like a more of a down year in Port Lavaca Calhoun standards. Now, I haven't seen Sinton's defense really play yet this year, so don't take it as I'm taking a shot on Sinton's defense. They very well could be earning that low point total. But like if you really look at it, the years that Port Lavaca Calhoun has had, the teams that made the deep runs, full of talent, they're busting 40, 50 plus points a game on you. Coach Whitaker's going to put points up. He's not going to grind away a win like that. So for me, I'm looking at that score bank and either A, Sinton's defense is just really out of this world, playing good, or Port Lavaca Calhoun's still trying to find that offensive identity that gets them to put those points up. Because if you really watch their offense, man, yeah, it's built to go 3-4 yards, but really the way they run it, they usually bust off 40, 50-yard gallops at a time. And we've seen it in person
Yep.
against some pretty good teams. So that kind of makes me question PLC a little bit, especially since we've seen Sinton kind of stumble out the gate a little bit this year as well. So just something that I wish we could get a little more insight from a Port Lavaca fan on what they think, because they're that's the bloodline for them.
Yeah,
But
we lost our guy Texas 20. He
what
hasn't
happened
he
to
hasn't
that guy?
time to, his kid graduated, and you kind of get unplugged from the program when those things happen, right? So I mean it's been a few years, but that was our main plug for Port Lavaca.
And he was a realist, dude. He didn't
Yeah,
sugar.
yeah. So like I said, we were both right in that one. Next game on the docket, Victoria West at Alice. Alice took the win in that one, 36-25. We both got the W. They're putting stuff together, man. It's a nice little bounce back win from that showing the week before.
Yeah, against Vets.
Yeah. So there we'll talk a little bit more about them when we talk about them in this week's games. But Alice, they're putting it together, man. They're getting used to what JR is bringing to the table, and I expect I expect to see a lot more out of those guys as the season progresses.
Absolutely.
So here's our second L of the week: El Campo versus Vets.
Yep.
35-28 El Campo.
Again, dude, they did it to me again. Back to back wins this game.
So, the feedback I got on this one is when that quarterback is playing and he is healthy, that team is extremely hard to stop.
Ocampo?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the initial report that I got. Hang on, I'm trying to find it exactly what it was. Yeah, they're saying if he had played against Cuero and Miller, those games would have been different. He said that two-headed monster they have isn't a joke. They don't care if they're 4A. The quarterback can add that number 9 with his speed. It's not easy to stop. He said they'll be fine with just those two guys playing moving forward. Lot of issues on the vet side still that they've got to clean up.
Yeah.
Right. So you got a bye week this week. Time to kind of gather the troops together, kind of give them that rallying speech and start moving forward. Who does Vets open up with? Who does Vets come back with? Let me pull this up. So they will come back with Moody.
Moody.
Actually, yeah. So they'll come off El Campo and they jump into Moody next week. So that's
Moody
that's
Madness.
good. That's a good way to kind of get. And I'm sorry, Moody, but it's a good way to get right back on track.
The thing with El Campo is, and it kind of throws you for a loop when they actually do take a loss. They produce almost every year, dude. The winning tradition over there is always pretty solid. The standards are high. So, not taking nothing away from Miller. I think Miller's a heck of a program, but a couple years, I don't know, a while back, you'd have not thought, oh, hey, Miller's going to go take it to El Campo, and they do, and then that leads me. I'm like, okay, so El Campo's beatable again, and that's just dug me right in there on Vets, and I think Vets is a good program. Uh, so I would love to see that what El Campo's pushing though. Kokoda, you apparently got to see it, but that's they always have a solid squad, man.
Yeah, and again, it's a new head coach getting used to the new system, right? Again, as the season goes on, they're going to get better.
Yeah.
right? So and you can expect that from those guys as they start rolling to district play as well. Our next game brings us up to our next loss. This one, I mean, man, we really ate crow on this one.
Eat the
Flower Bluff,
words.
Flower Bluff at Cal Allen, 28-10 Cal Allen. We both got the L on this one. So Cal Allen stayed on the ground. This one did not throw a whole lot. And I guess if we had watched the Mexico City game, we would have saw the difference. You know, week one they started number 3 at quarterback. Cal Allen did, and this past 2 weeks they started number 4, Sebastian Dennis, who
Yes.
ran that offense pretty well.
Yeah, he did. Really,
Um,
when you watch, to me, dude, he ran the offense really well. They looked more fluid. The offensive line seemed to get a bigger push this week. I think that is something though that they even the Cal Allen fans will tell you is a work right now. They have good size up front, but I don't think they're getting the bigger push that they're used to in past years. And it was kind of neat because you watched them come out of the shotgun, but I mean it was basically wing T. And I didn't pay like a whole lot of attention, but it just seemed like a lot of sweeps and traps with Medina getting the ball and a good old fashioned Cal Allen ground game.
yep.
And they kept the ball away from the bluff, and then they capitalized every time they did. And and then honestly, hats off to the Cal Allen defense. That secondary slowed down Paliseo and the Bluff offense. They got him out of a rhythm. He looked uncomfortable all night. His throws weren't there. Just did not look like the offensive production that they had week one. And I'm not really sure what's going on in the Bluff right now, but I'm a little shocked right now at them sitting at 1-2 because I had them, like I said, pegged at the beginning of the year as the best team in this area.
Well,
And
I think we both agreed on that last week.
they just look off, man. Something don't look right. They look uncomfortable right now.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about them because we'll talk about them next week. They got another big game this week. So in the next segment we'll talk about them as well. But yeah, man, I mean it's a head scratcher. You know, Paseo threw for I think 102 yards only. You know, and I don't think he's thrown for that few yards since probably the 7th grade. Right. So, like you said, hats off to the Cal Allen defense, man. They played very good defense. Their offense, man, was just churning them around. And you know that salty defense that we saw from Flower Bluff in week one, you know,
Wasn't
just
there.
it wasn't there this week. It was not there. Luke Medina had a great game. He was another one of our Elite Tank Solutions Player of the Week nominees. I think he finished with 183 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yes.
And the you know, just talking to folks, not just from the game, but you know, they're amazed by his start and stop speed. You know, he stops and then he just takes off like a slingshot, man. I mean,
He's
it's two
good running
speeds.
back.
It's stop and go, you know.
He's a good
Um
football player, is what
yes,
he is.
he's a very good football player. You know, he's a swimmer, right? So he's a very good swimmer as well.
See, I didn't
Um
know that.
yeah, he's a very good swimmer. So he's got that too. He's got the conditioning, but he's very fast, very fast. So we both took the L on that one. And then our game of the week. Well, everybody's game of the week. A lot of controversy surrounding this one, right?
Yep.
Refugio versus Edna. 42-41 Refugio in double overtime.
Took the W on that one.
You
I'm not.
you've got an asterisk. You have an asterisk. You have an
That's,
asterisk, right?
that's fine. So
And
are the Astros.
I took the L and I have an asterisk as well, right? So oh man, I don't want to beat this too much. I don't want to beat this dead horse too much, right? Because there's been a lot of it. You know, we posted it on our Facebook and our Twitter of the stat that the Padilla poll put out, and the overtime rules were applied incorrectly, right? The second overtime, you are required to go for 2. If you kick the extra point, it will not count. Right? They'll let you kick it, but it will not count. A lot of folks say, you know, it's a moot point, right? Because they were saying that Edna wouldn't have kicked it anyways. They were having trouble kicking extra points. I disagree, because one, the referee should know that rule, right? The referee should know that rule. Um, and second, so if Refugio had gone for 2 and they didn't get it, Edna gets their shot, they don't get it. It's more football. You go into a third overtime. Right. So there's that. Right. So there's that point of view. And the other part, like I said, the referee should know the rule. And the other controversy is the interception that wasn't. And I kind of said this on a comment that about bad plays, about missed calls and not knowing a rule. There's a difference between the two. There's a
Yeah.
difference between blowing a call or making the wrong call or and not knowing a rule. Man, unfortunately, with the luxury of replay and slowing things down, different camera angles, having cameras at games, you're going to catch that and you're going to armchair quarterback it as much as you want, but that's a bang bang play, right? And I wasn't there. I didn't see it. We were watching it, and from the angle we had, it looked like it was an interception, right?
Yeah.
It didn't look any different. Now we weren't there, but these referees don't have the benefit of instant replay like they do in the NFL to look at these things all over again and whatnot. And if you look at the refereeal sideline, man, they sold it. You know,
Yeah.
they sold it. I mean, it is what it is, right? Bad calls are going to happen. That's part of football. But it's totally different from not knowing the rule.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
That's just a tough break, dude.
yeah,
Um,
I mean,
and it sucks when you're on the receiving end of a bad break, right? You can what if that to death if you really wanted to. At the end of the day, it does not change the win loss record.
nope,
Um, be fortunate it happened early on in the year where it doesn't really count. It does not matter. Yeah, it's on a record somewhere, but does it really matter at the end of the day?
no, it's a bragging rights game. It doesn't matter.
Bragging rights game. You're not going to probably respect each other even after the game. So what is it? So move on. I think Edna's going to make a tremendous run. They look
Yep.
good. Rafiro looks good. If it's me personally, I'm way more upset about the missed two-point conversion in overtime. That would be the more upsetting thing to me out of all of it, especially when if you're Coach Mitchell, you're literally screaming it at an official, "Hey, this is not right." Because that's everyone's job when you step on that field to know the rules, right? And if you don't know that rule and it goes against you, that's on you. You should have done your homework.
Yeah.
If you knew the rule and it went against you and you couldn't change it, that sucks.
Yeah.
And like we said, we talked about last show. And I don't know, this could be an experienced referee crew. Mistakes happen, man. The way the game was going, it was flowing. They had the turnovers in overtime. Could have been one of those things. They got sidetracked in the game themselves. But like again, if it was a newer officiating crew, they're trying to get bodies out there.
Yeah.
And that's a rule that's not like every day, every game rule. That's a hey, we'll see if we get to overtime type of thing. So I don't know, man. It's tough. We'll put an asterisk by it, but I got the win, so that's what I care about.
So and this game, it happened exactly like last games. Edna was in control in the first half, and then the second half, man, it was turnovers. Got away from him. Rafiro took the lead, and Rafiro held on to the lead.
Yep.
Right. Well, they tied it and whatnot, and took the lead in the overtime. But it had this, and as the game was going, I said that I was like, this is playing out exactly how it did last year.
Yep.
So I mean, two good teams. Bobby Latka, who's the head coach at Arlington Heights. Arlington Heights versus Annapolis, both teams undefeated. Going to be at Annapolis is going to be a great game. Do you have see, man, these 6 men, we don't give the 6-man guys enough. We don't give them enough love, and that's my fault. He's submitted some players for player of the week, and man, I'd never put him up for the player of the week awards, right? And that's my bad. I'm sorry, Coach Latka, because they've got good numbers, man. They put up very good numbers. And they're like Madden stats, right? Because the game is so fast and they have so many offensive possessions. They get a lot of stats on there. We featured a lot of those kids on our highlight reels. And is there a trophy for this game? Is this a rivalry? Do you have a name for this game? I'd like to hear it. Maybe we can start a competition. Name this game.
Name this game.
Yeah, something, right? So be on the lookout for that, man. If you guys are really wanting to see 6-man football, because we're getting, man, it seems like we're getting a lot of those. Benavides jumped to 6-man this year. Runge, we didn't talk about it last week, but Runge is going to play 6-man this year. Drop down from 11-man. I think they call it outlaw. They're going on outlaw schedule this year.
Dude, people know this about me, but I was rocking with Annapolis back in like 07, 08, 09, because I had buddies that were homeschooled. That when we went to high school, their parents put them over in Annapolis to finish out their high school career, and they both played football. for Annapolis. I'm talking. I went to them in the summer workouts with them at the Platypus Gym over there off like Alameda area, I think. I went to some of the practices. I couldn't tell you the coach's name. It's been a long time. I remember helping set Field up before their games on Saturdays in the morning, dude. It was like watching Pee Wee, like Pop Warner football, man. It's crazy
That's right.
uh,
Yeah.
that I got to experience that. I think that was early on when they were just starting out. They used to have the old school Arizona A on the side of their helmet, and the equipment was very minimal. I mean, it was kind of cool to be a part of. Uh, so I don't dog on six man too much. I've seen it, and it's funny because Annapolis is still rolling, and it honestly seems like they've improved a lot since those days when I got to
Yeah.
see it early on.
And yeah, so
And
I
yeah,
forgot about that. IWA's got a 6-man team this year as well. They're jumping into their first season of football, I think, is this year.
I like it.
Right. So yeah, so it's becoming a thing around here. So I mean, catch it. If you love high school football, if you want to see something new, you want to see something fast, you want to see a lot of scoring, go to 6-man game.
Are they playing Fridays or are they still Saturdays?
I don't know. Bobby, we'll wait for your answer on that, coach. Um, we have so this is our kind of our segment point, right? So I will play the video and we'll talk a little bit more about it after the video, please. We have no stickers this week. So I've been in training all week. And I'm usually the one that puts the reel together and then they get sent to us. We had, I think, 3 submissions this week. And man, I apologize. I have just not had any time to put it together. I've been hemmed up. I can't even get on my phone this week because we've been so busy with training. Um, so we will roll those highlights into next week. And if we have to give out 4, 5 stickers, 6 stickers next week, we'll do it. We got no problem with that. You know, if they're deserving, they'll deserve it. So we have no helmet stickers this week. Um, and just like us, normally, we still haven't got our other ones in the mail yet. Uh, we'll we'll get those out this week. If not this week, we'll get them in the mail this weekend.
Hey, dude, we've been busy, dude. It's
And
people don't realize like this might be the busiest year to date of the show.
yeah,
You
you know,
got
we're
your
we're
kids older, you got a bunch of stuff going on. My kids are over there in school. Wife's doing clinicals, so I'm pretty much in charge of a lot of stuff on my days off when I get them. It's just a
and we're
lot.
prepping and we're prepping for a turnaround at work.
Yeah.
Right, so it's not slowing down. We're working a ton right now. So we apologize for the delays. We apologize in not being able to get some of the stuff done, but trust us, it will be back. It will be back. So let's jump on to next week's docket. Okay, so we had a special guest that was checking in here a little while ago, and he checked out. So we'll kind of move that here in a little bit. I'll send him a text message, but we'll start with our first game, and that is hang on. That is Gregory Portland at Bernie. Last season, 52-27 Bernie. GP is currently 3-0 this week, coming off a 49-27 win over Victoria East. Bernie is 2-1, coming off a 42-35 win over Antonian Prep, which is your private school up there in San Antonio. So going back to the Flower Bluff game against Bernie, it was a different team. You know, Jackson Bays is out. He is still out. Houston Hendricks' younger brother, Hank, I think I think Coach Hendricks is the defensive coordinator there, or the
No, Coach
offense.
Hendricks,
Is he
head
the,
coach.
is he the head coach?
Yeah, Che Hendricks is the head coach up there.
Okay, so he's the coach's son. He's a freshman. He's stepping in for an injured
So
Jackson
It's
Bays.
it's Hudson's little brother, Hank.
Yeah, is it Hudson or Houston?
Hudson, like
Hudson,
Hut.
like Hut. Okay, who is also an Air Force commit.
Yes.
The last 2 games, he's thrown for 332 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. He's holding his own. They're relying on Thomas Dement a little bit. The running back, he's averaging 144 rushing yards a game. So my question to you, Justin, based off what we've seen Flower Bluff do the last couple of weeks, is Bernie really that good?
Man, when I watched that game, I thought Bluff looked really good. Of course, I didn't see every single play, but I was under the circumstance of what we were at and where we were at. I watched the game as much as I could. And I saw some flashes from some kids from Bernie that I was like, ooh, boy, these boys look good again. But keep in mind, they lost a lot. And I think the receiving core is what took a bigger hit last year from last year.
Well, you lost Jackson's brother.
He was a massive piece of that team.
Yep. Brooks Perez comes back. Hudson comes back as a tight end. So those guys were still there. And then
they probably lost a little offensive line, and their offensive line was pretty big last year.
Yep.
For me, with Jackson out, what killed GP last year is they started off 7-0 right off the bat. Had a 3-and-out, and then they took a shot deep down the sideline with Colton. And I think that was honestly one of the games where it was like, hey, Colton Harrison's the real deal. Had kind of a little coming out party. And from that forward on, it was like he kept putting out big play, big play, big play. But I think with what we've seen from them and what I've seen from Portland right now, I'm leaning GP. I'm gonna take my Wildcats. And last year what killed us is we could not get off the field. It seemed like on third down, Bays would kill us with his feet. This was the week I was in. I was actually up in Lindell at this time last year watching football, and I watched the game when we got home at my brother-in-law's up there, and it seemed like every third down we'd have a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 6, and Bays would kill us with his feet. Without Bays being there, I think, and it seems like they're leaning a lot more on that running game. I feel like our run defense is pretty rock solid right now, which I would think would play into our hands. So for me, that gives me, I'm going to tip the scale to Portland, but I'm really interested, and what I'm looking for the most of is to see how we come out offensively as a unit and execute against it. And I think their defense is pretty solid. They got some really good pieces up front. Number 0 on the D-line's a big, fast kid. So I'm going to be curious to see how we manage that situation and how they string together their drives. But I'm going GP as always. It's just there's a lot of little things I'm going to be looking for, and hopefully we'll hit on. So
I think we're going to be pretty matched up this week. I'm going to go with GP in this one as well. Just because I don't think, just like I said, I don't think I'm sold on Bernie right now. So we'll see. We could be wrong, right? We'll see. But
see where they have Cal Allen and Bernie at 4 and 5, or vice versa, something like that.
I had not seen that. No, yeah, is that on the Harris poll? So we're going off a new poll now. Yeah. We're going off the Harris poll, which has been around for a lot of years, and we'll go into that a little more in depth on maybe another show, a little bit on breaking down these rankings from the Harris poll. Yeah, but I'm going to go with GP in that one as well. Our guest is back in now, so we're going to go ahead and jump games real quick because he's been in and out, and we're kind of making him wait. But we've got some top 10 action. All right, so we got Beeville heading up to San Antonio to play Somerset. And to go a little in depth on Somerset, we've got our Somerset beat guy, Robbie Chavez. How you doing, Robbie?
I'm good, man. I just covered about 4 middle school games and gave a speech for a youth organization out here. So I'm kind of in the car. I'm on the run.
That's always right. You're always busy, man. If you guys have been keeping up with Robbie's social media, the guy's always moving. We've talked about it all the time. Robbie comes up and he's our man on the scene for our San Antonio stuff, especially there, everything that goes on there on the south side. So we're about to talk about Beeville at number 10, Somerset, right? You're very plugged in with what goes on Somerset. I actually went out to the Somerset game when they played Bernie last year, and just based off of the way Somerset played Bernie, it made me scratch my head on, wow, this is what a top 10 team looks like. And turns out Somerset was a very good team last year. Very good team. So last year in this Beeville Somerset matchup, Somerset took it 43-22 in Beeville. Beeville's 3-0 coming off a 49-27 win over Robstown, and Somerset's 3-0 coming over a 42-21 win over Floresville. Lot of pieces there. You got the big three there in Somerset. Quarterback Kobe Isbell, running back Josiah Lugo, who came on in the second half of the season, filled in for an injured running back there last year and kind of took the load there. Guy's built like a bowling ball with legs. Solid little dude. I think 5'5" is a stretch with how tall he is. And then, our guy, Jaden Too Fast, Jaden Foz, who's a senior, who's kind of lighting it up right now. What else can you tell us about the Bulldogs, Robbie?
I think when we go into it, first of all, reading and seeing, there's a lot of people that don't think Somerset deserves their number 10 state ranking. And for me, I don't see why not. Because, like, in the last 14 or 15 games, Somerset's only two losses are literally to Bernie, who is state ranked and undefeated last year, and Cal Allen. That's literally their only two losses to public schools in the last couple games. So I think they deserve the ranking. I think they're playing well. I think they come into this game, and it's their first home game of the season. Somerset hasn't had a home game this year, so this is kind of a coming home party. And I think they're worthy of the ranking, and I think they're going to play pretty well this week against Beeville.
So the Harris poll has them at 16, right? The AP, which is run by Dave Campbell's, they've got them at 10. And yeah, you were right, Spud. Bernie's number 4, Callan's number 5. I Man, I don't know about that Callan ranking being so high right now, but
Yeah.
so yeah, there's hits and misses with every poll, right? There's that human element in there and things. But yeah, I mean, those are their last 2 losses, and those are quality losses, right? I think, man, we haven't seen Bevo play in the flesh, but like we've said every year, man, the Souzas can get a good quarterback
Yep.
and do some special things with them. This year, it's quarterback Elijah Shustada, who's having a very good season as a first year starter. Um, Last week he had 3 touch. They've had a 21-point second quarter, and he threw 3 touchdown passes to 3 different receivers. The defense steps up when they need to. It's a bend but don't break defense, but they've got some playmakers on that defensive side of the ball. Man, I think in this one, I think Somerset is going to be worthy of their number 10 ranking, number 14 ranking. And I think they're going to take the win again this year, man. I think they've just got too many good pieces right now.
Well, I mean, Somerset's won this matchup 2 times in a row already. So they're going for a third. And, some people say, well, the third's hard to do. Well, look what they did against their rival, Southside. They had 2 in a row against Southside as well. And you would think, well, it's going to hard to win a third straight, but they were able to do that as well. So Somerset's got a good team. I think one of the big things is like Kobe Isbell is making a great difference for Somerset. Obviously, there's a lot of pieces that contribute to the team, the offensive line and the playmakers, but Kobe has the ball more dialed in last year. Jake, you were at that game. There was about 2 throws in particular that Kobe missed by inches that would have given Somerset 2 touchdowns against Bernie. Somerset got into Bernie's red zone, and those passes were just a bit off. Well, this year, those types of passes are falling for Kobe. He's really worked hard in the offseason, and he looks a lot better. And I think that, along with the development of the rest of the team, though, is what makes Somerset better. And like I said, first home game of the year, it's going to be hard for Somerset in their first home game, in my opinion, to just go out there and give a bad effort. I think that they know of their ranking, they know of Beeville, and I think they'll come out and put on a show. I think it'll be a good game for Somerset. I think they'll be down in this week.
Spud, what do you got?
Yeah, no, I like everything I've heard so far on Somerset. This ain't Bernie. And where I chose against Somerset last year. Uh, Beeville to me, dude, is they're going to give you a good quality matchup week in, week out. They have good coaching over there. The kids fight hard. They're tough. I think they're having a pretty good year this year. But just the stuff that I've seen from here on Somerset, the fact they are finally cracking into that ranking when they just, I think that I agree with you, Robbie. I think they deserve one a little while back. It just makes me lean Somerset in the grand scheme of things. I'm gonna go with the plugged in guy. I know Robbie ain't gonna BS me on this. Uh, and then of course, we've seen Jaden or Foz, and then our buddy from the Valley slash
Strunky. Yeah.
Chunky. It just makes me want to sway the Somerset side even more so. So I'm going to roll with the Bulldogs on this one. I think they're going to handle Beeville pretty easily.
I think so too. Robbie, where are you going to be this week?
This week, several games. I'll probably be tomorrow night, Thursday. It's looking like we're hitting Memorial, San Antonio Memorial and Antonian first half. Sam Houston, Harlandale second half for Thursday. And then Friday night, we're going to be at the first half of that Beeville Somerset game. And just about 5 minutes down the road, Southwest and Southside are going at it in what looks like an early possible play in for the district championship just right down the road from Somerset and Beeville.
Dang.
So, guys, keep an eye on those matchups because those matches are going to be playoff matches for us later on down the road.
Yep.
Right. So,
sure.
pay attention to what's going on there. Robbie, I know you're busy. We got to jump into a couple more. Thanks for popping in, man. We always appreciate the knowledge. Never be a stranger, guy.
Thank y'all, guys. Appreciate you.
Thanks for coming in, Rob.
Come on, buddy.
Dude, he knows what he's talking about, man.
Yeah, he does.
I'm glad
he's locked in, dude. He's locked in. He hears the inner workings. He's involved in a lot of those inner workings. So
he's a man of the people.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is, dude. He's what Pat could have been.
Oh, big time, dude. Oh, yeah. Oh, what Pat could have been. What Pat could have
been.
All right, so let's jump to our next game. Alice versus Flower Bluff. Last season, 21-20, Alice in a squeaker. Right now, Alice sitting at 2-1. Like we said earlier, 36-25 win over Victoria West. Flower Bluff 1-2 with that 28-10 loss to Cal Allen. Which Flower Bluff team shows up? I mean, that's the biggest question. That's all I have. Really, I can't go into any more depth on what's going on, what ails the Bluff, but which team shows up, man? Is it the week one team that beat a maybe good Bernie team? Or is it the team that just kind of, man, I don't know.
A couple weeks ago, you asked me this question. I told you Flower Bluff, hands down. Looking at it now, dude, and just the way Castellano has Alice moving, I got Coyotes, dude. I'm taking the Coyotes on this one. They're at home, right?
They're at home. Yep. No. They're at the Bluff.
They're at the Bluff.
Yep.
And the Bluff plays good at home a lot of times, but they dropped that game to Laredo too at the house. So I'm still going to lean with the Coyotes, dude. I think this is going to be Coach Castellanos' one of his early signature wins over there in the program, right? One of those invigorating wins that gets you behind him, like, hey, we believe in this guy, like he's getting us there. I think this is where he does it right here.
Yeah.
The Bluff is going to be interesting, man, because they're very well coached. I guarantee you those dudes are working their tails off right now because they did not anticipate being down 1-2 this early into the year, and you know they do not want to go to 1-3. You go to 1-3, start losing some focus from the kids, and it gets a lot harder to really reel those in. And the next thing you know, you have a lost season. So They have the pieces there. I know they do in the Bluff. It's whether they get it together or not. I just think this week is going to be one of those weeks where Coach Castellano and the Coyotes come in and get one. So
yeah, I'm going to side with you too.
Sergio.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that too, Sergio. Yeah, we are going to side with your Coyotes this week, and it's 2 in a row, and I think it's going to be a good test for Flower Bluff. Get ready right before district, but yeah, I think the Coyotes will just be too much, man. They're getting together as well, man. Quarterback Lucian Cruz is had a solid outing last week. 211 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Roel Gonzalez and Justin Ariano are doing very well on the offensive side of the ball as well. Expect some offensive fireworks from the Coyotes this week, man. So yeah, we got Alice, both got Alice in that one. And then we've got our game of the week, which is Cal Allen versus Cuero. Last season, 24-8 Cal Allen. Cal Allen's currently 2-1 with a 28-10 win over Flower Bluff, and Cuero's 3-0 with a 41-34 victory over Yoakum last week. That Yoakum team's making a pretty big turnaround compared to how they did last year.
Yeah, they are.
So that's a very solid outing for Yoakum. They're having a very good year so far. Cuero lost some key pieces last year, but they're kind of making up for it. You know, they lost Tyson Williams, who was their running back. They kind of do everything. He had I think it was a 2,000-yard rusher last week. Running back Kenneth Jackson, who's a senior, is kind of filling that role. And so is the quarterback Mason Natoro. They're both kind of doing their thing on the ground to make up for that loss of Tyson there on the offensive side of the ball. Cuero's had some pretty big outings this week. I think they took that El Campo team week one. I think put 41 on them. And then have just been kind of on a roll from there. Cal Allen, we've talked about them. We've talked about their struggles. That slow start against Cal Allen, that changing of the quarterback, I think, is what kind of did it for them.
Yeah.
You know, and they find their guy, and you know they just start clicking, right?
I gotta go with Cuero on this one.
I think, yeah.
I think the Bluff's in a bad spot. I'm still not sold on that Mexico win. I think Cuero is right now the better team. in the grand scheme of things, I think Cuero's got more athletes than Cal Allen does right now.
Yeah.
I think this could be a very good game. I think you're going to see Cal Allen try to manage the game like they did last week. It's going to be probably a heavy dose of the run.
Yeah.
I can't remember if they even threw the ball once last week, to be honest with you. I
Didn't
think
have
you'll
to.
see that. It's going to be a classic try to control the clock as much as possible and limit the damage that your defense may give up to a very athletic Cuero team. So the big thing here is going to be winning that third down battle, right? If you're Cal Allen or if you're Cuero. Cuero starts winning those third down battles early on in the game, forcing the punt. I think this is going to tip in the scale of Cuero very fast. If Cal Allen can hang on and win those third down battles and grind out drives, then to me, their percentage of coming up with a win over a very good Cuero team rises dramatically. I lean right now towards Cuero winning those third down battles. And that's what's going to tip me to the Gobbler side this week.
Yeah, and I think we're even this week, man. So if we win, yeah, if we win them all, then record stays the same, right? Just add a few more under the win column. And this brings us up to our last part of the show, our Elite Tank Solutions Player of the Week. So we have 4 of the guys up for the award. Luke Medina, 183 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. Gabe Waters, 244 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns. We didn't get his defensive stats, but he had a lot of defensive stats in there as well. Elijah Sustada, 353 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. I think he ran for another 45 and another touchdown. And then we had. Why am I drawing a blank? Who was the other one? We had 2 quarterbacks. And
Caden
Solis.
Caden?
Right. Caden Solis from Three Rivers, right, who had an outstanding game. I think he had 6 touchdowns as well, 300 and some odd passing yards, and was named the Built Ford Tough Player of the Week for 2A. But our winner in a 736 to 835 vote is what happened? Where'd he go? Beeville quarterback Elijah Sustana.
There we go.
Beeville showed up huge in this one, man. Showed up big time. They took over the Facebook voting, and that's what makes or break these wins is the Facebook voting, man. There was so many people trying to get into the group to vote, and it was all for Elijah. A lot of people from Beeville, Skidmore, whatnot. So congratulations, Elijah. He's learning from one of the best out there in Eric Souza.
Yeah, he is, dude.
So
he's done a good job out there.
Yep. Congratulations, Elijah. Your trophy will be in the mail. Hopefully tomorrow. We got to reach out to Coach, get his address and stuff, but we'll have
tomorrow's a good day to catch up on things for us, dude.
Oh, it is big time.
Then we go back to work.
Yeah, then we go back to work. I'm still in training. I got another day of training tomorrow. And then roll back. Yeah, and then roll back into days on Friday, and then we got 4. Man, well, one of the things we didn't talk about at the beginning of the show, which I'm going to kind of hit on now, is media credentialing.
Dude,
man, it is it's getting pretty hard for us to get into these media credentials now. Flower Bluff is essentially not allowing anybody unless you've got a channel 6, channel 3, or channel 10 on your shirt. So that they've kind of left us out over there. We just reached out.
Never been a thing in the past.
It's never been a thing in the past. We reached out to Cal Allen this week. They were unable to credential us as well.
Really?
Yeah. I hadn't got to tell you about that yet. Yeah, we got the no-go from Cal Allen.
What?
Yeah, we had to jump through hoops to get through Alice. So thank you to the administrative staff at Alice for taking care of us there. Still have to go pick those passes up. Hadn't gone to go pick them up yet. But man, it's getting tough, man. It's getting really tough. The UIL has put guidelines out for like what they call it, freelancers. I guess that's what you can call us, freelancers, right? But that's what we are.
Yeah, legit free coverage for your school,
Yeah,
free coverage for your school.
yeah, and we I mean, we put a lot of spotlights on programs down here that the big guys up north don't, right?
You know,
And
boy.
I don't want to get into the I don't want to get into the oh well I do this for you. What are you going to do for me? Kind of thing. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get into that territory. But man, it really
Well,
is
dude, I mean, you're killing the show. At a certain point, you're killing the show because I'll be honest with you, like I have, you know my schedule. I got a kid that is in travel ball that
yeah.
I just came from practice to come do this show for. My other son, he has his other things going on. He's 6 years old. He likes me to spend time with him. We've done this show for what? This is going on year 6
This is
for
year
free.
6,
We've
yeah.
not gotten paid a dime in 6 years doing it. We've had a couple cool perks here and there thrown our way, no problem. But really, at the end of the day, it's we want to come cover your games that we think are important that week, get some cool highlights for your kids to post on our social stuff that the big three don't coverage. And I'm not taking a shot at 3, 6, 10, or the Caller Times. We're friends with all of them. But those dudes' hands are handcuffed. They get maybe 10 to 25 seconds, if you're lucky, of
Yep.
footage of your game, maybe 5 or 6 games. Then they throw together a scrolling scoreboard and call it the Blitz, and then Caller Times is legitimately only allowed a front page of the sports. There's not even multiple pages of the sports page anymore. And we're getting thrown on the bus because we're not one of those guys when I feel like we give great coverage while those people's hands are cuffed. And that's not me saying anything bad about them.
Yep.
They can only do what they can do. And then here we are to fill in the void and help them out. And you're going to just take that away. I mean, it's just frustrating. I didn't know about the Cal Allen thing. That really just like
Yeah, I
I
had
don't even want to rant here, dude. But I'm sitting here thinking, like, okay, am I going to watch GP Bernie from the house, or am I going to take Ace and we're going to go watch Cal Allen Cuero because we didn't have a problem last year getting into Cal Allen, and here we go.
yeah. Yep, and we can't go watch the Alice game because we can't get into the Bluff. Maybe we'll head out and go watch the Bobby Latka and Arlington
Right?
Heights. I'm pretty sure they're glad to have us out there, right?
That'd be cool.
Why not? Why don't we go take a peek over there? Hey, coach, where's your game at Friday? Let us know. Shoot us a message, and maybe we'll head out there for a half. See what's going on. Yeah, yeah.
You won't let me go if I don't.
Hey, Ingleside, man, they love us at Ingleside. We've got the okay from Coach. We've got the okay from Coach Bible. We've got the pass from Coach Troutman. So it's just we haven't made it out to a game yet. Edna's coming into sitting this week.
You know what, dude? Heck, that's not bad.
Yeah.
I might do that, honestly.
Yeah. San Diego's
doesn't sound that bad.
San Diego's at Odom. Maybe I'll go check out a half San Diego. San Diego's got a good squad this year, man. They have a very good squad.
Not bad. We can make 2 appearances. Yeah, dude. I'm getting kind of fed up with some of this, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean,
we're gonna.
I get it. I get it because when we were on the sidelines, we saw some interesting stuff, some interesting characters on the sidelines that we had never seen before at a lot of these games, and I feel like we're getting lumped in with some of those interesting characters.
We're absolutely getting lumped in with this high school influencer BS, if you will.
Yeah.
I want to turn. We're going to turn. This is going to be a topic on the next show based on how this goes, because I feel like we're at the very end of it, and I don't think enough people that enjoy this show are getting to hear it.
Yeah, and yeah, I totally forgot, man. I had it written down, and it totally slipped my mind. But yeah, we'll lead the next show off with it,
dude.
And we'll talk about it. And for some reason, the trend is with the bigger schools. That's what it's looking like. The smaller schools, they want us out there. Who wants us to go out there? Poth wants us to go out there. If I need to make an hour-and-a-half trip up there, I'll make it, or a 45-minute trip up to Poth. Poth's got some ballers. We've been welcomed at Tidehaven. Tidehaven, number 3 team in state. Their defensive end just won the Ford Built Tough Player of the Week for the defensive side of the ball. Tidehaven's got some good ball players. I'm pretty sure Cuero will welcome us up there. We've got some Cuero fans.
I talked to the coach from Cuero. Yeah, I'm sure we can make that work. Just irritating, bro.
Yeah, and I think, and I'm gonna say, the UIL, they've got their guidelines that a lot of these schools are going by, and I think, the UIL is they may be siding with the
Yeah,
guys up in Dallas,
yeah,
or Arlington, wherever Mesquite, wherever they're at, McKinney,
for sure.
and kind of favoring towards them, but it is what it is, right? But we'll do what we can. We're going to
Well,
continue to give your kids as much coverage as we can, and we're going to continue to talk about them for
yeah.
30, 45 an hour. And
The sad
well,
thing is we're not the only show in Texas that does this, right?
yeah,
To an extent. Um, but you're going to take away a lot of good freelance material. What people don't realize is if you ask himself, Matt Stepp was one of the best, probably freelance dudes, guerrilla style back in the day, and that's where he got to where he's at right now.
yeah,
Not saying that's what me and you want to do. What I'm saying is Matt Stepp started off doing great freelance work. Actually, I think pissed some people off because a lot of his work was free.
yeah.
But it is what it is, and it was good coverage, and it was quality coverage, and you're gonna take that away to what? I mean, at the end of the day, it's a money thing, but still, dude, it's BS.
Yeah, it is what it is, and we'll leave the next show off with it. We're seeing a lot of people. What happened? What did I miss? What did I miss? Once we go live, or once we end the stream, just kind of go
Go
back
to
the
the
last
52
10
minute
minutes.
mark. Start watching. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, we've kind of been on a rant for the last 10 minutes, but we'll end it there. And like I said, we'll talk about it. Sergio's gonna flip out about the Alice passes.
I already told him, dude. He was pissed.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, we don't keep secrets from each other. We talk a lot. We give each other a hard time on each other's social media pages, but it's all good between us and Sergio and South Texas Bloodsport. They do their thing their way, we do our thing our way. We can coexist. But guys, thanks for tuning in this week. Coach Souza will be reaching out to you this week, or Elijah will be reaching out to you this week and getting your address, and we'll get your helmet out to you. Renee, yours is in the mail. Trevor, yours is in the mail as well. And we'll see you guys next week, man. If you guys have anything, do not forget, as this weekend progresses, as the games finish on Friday night, Saturday, 2 to 3 highlights. Send them in. We want to showcase you, right? Send them in and give your helmet stickers. We got plenty. Guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see y'all next week. Well, forgot something. See, always forgets.